The story of Alan Turing is a tale of brilliance, perseverance, and tragedy. It's a story that has fascinated me since I first read about it years ago. But even I was shocked when I recently came across a new detail about his life. It's a discovery so surprising that historians are still trying to understand its full impact. They call it the first ATM story. But before I reveal what that means, let me introduce you to Alan Turing. I know you probably heard about him before. Maybe you studied him in school or watched the movie The Imitation Game starring Benedict Cumberbatch. That film tells the story of how he led a team at Bletchley Park in England during World War II that cracked the German Enigma code. The machines that were generating those codes contained wheels that could be set to produce a huge number of different combinations. This meant that if you wanted to send a message to an ally, you had to use a special device called an Enigma machine to scramble your words into unreadable characters. Those characters would then be transmitted by radio or telegraph. Arriving at the other end scrambled, there they'd be unscrambled back into readable characters. The intercepted messages were indecipherable, or so everyone thought. Most people thought the Enigma machine was unbreakable because the number of possible settings for each 26-letter alphabet was astronomical. There were 150 million potential settings. By comparison, there are only around 8 billion people alive today. So assuming no person would ever think of the same combination twice, it would take trillions of years to exhaust all the Enigma's possible settings. These trillions of settings were the reason why historians believe that the German High Command believed their communications were secure. But Turing and his team proved them wrong. To do so, Turing devised a machine called the bomb, which would test thousands of these possibilities at lightning speed. Once the bomb found the right setting, the Enigma messages were deciphered and suddenly the impossible became possible. His colleagues were able to keep up with the Germans' daily changes in code. This gave the Allies an edge in the war. Historians estimate that Turing's work and that of his colleagues who worked in silence at Bletchley Park may have shortened the war by 2 years, saving perhaps millions of lives. But here's where things get really interesting. After the war, many of the people who worked at Bletchley Park, including Turing, were sworn to secrecy. The work they did wasn't declassified until decades later. So although we know Turing's name today, there are countless others whose contributions went unrecognized for generations. One such person was a woman named Joan Clark. She was the only woman invited to join Turing's team of code breakers. And despite facing sexism and having her intellect constantly underestimated, she made significant contributions to the team's success. However, like so many of her colleagues, her work remained top secret until long after the war had ended. And so it was that in 1951, when the British government brought charges against Alan Turing for gross indecency after he had a relationship with a man. It was a betrayal that shocked the world. How could a man who had helped save countless lives be treated this way? It was a tragic turn of events that led to one of the greatest scientific minds of the 20th century being prosecuted for simply being gay. But that's not the part that historians are still trying to come to terms with. That's not the first ATM story. You see, in 1954, just 3 years after he was charged and before he took his own life, Turing visited the United States. There he met with officials from the National Security Agency, the NSA, and gave a talk at the University of Michigan. The topic of his talk was something he had been working on in secret for years. Something he didn't even tell his closest friends, his colleagues, or his family. He told them about a hypothetical machine, something he called the automatic teaching machine. Turing described a device that would look something like a cash dispenser, like an ATM. People would insert coins into the machine, coins that would then be converted into punch paper tape. This tape would then be fed into a computer, teaching it new information. It sounds incredible because in many ways it was. At the time, computers were enormous, filling entire rooms and requiring teams of engineers to operate. Turing's idea was a revolutionary concept in machine learning, but it was far from the first ATM. So why does it matter? Well, it matters because until now, no one knew that Turing had been working on this idea at all. A report of his talk was published in a university magazine, but all references to it were heavily redacted. Only recently, over 65 years later, have historians uncovered the full story, understanding the significance of what Turing was trying to do. You see, throughout history, there have been many efforts to make machines intelligent, machines that can learn and adapt to their environment. But Turing's approach was different. He wasn't interested in creating a machine that could mimic human intelligence. Instead, he wanted to create a machine that could teach itself. In his talk, Turing explained that his automatic teaching machine would have a number of advantages over traditional programming methods. For example, it could be used to teach computers to recognize patterns in data, something that was extremely difficult to do at the time. It could also be used to teach computers to adapt to new situations, something that was almost impossible to do at the time. In essence, Turing was proposing a way to make computers truly intelligent, a machine that could think for itself. Of course, at the time, this was just a hypothetical idea. Turing never actually built an automatic teaching machine, but the concept he described in his talk was remarkably similar to the modern-day AI machines we use today. And that's why historians are so excited about this discovery. It has a rare glimpse into the mind of one of the greatest scientific thinkers of the 20th century, and it shows just how far ahead of his time he was. Imagine a world without computers or the internet, a world where all these things we take for granted today didn't exist. It might seem hard to imagine, but without Turing's work during World War II and his later contributions to the field of computer science, this might have been the world we live in. As we look back on the life of this brilliant mathematician, it's important to remember not only his groundbreaking contributions to science, but also the personal cost that he paid for being true to himself. Despite facing persecution and losing his life at the age of 41, Turing's legacy lives on. His work paved the way for many of the technological advances we enjoy today, from the computers we use every day to the smartphones we carry in our pockets. But perhaps his greatest gift to us is the reminder that no matter how brilliant our minds are, none of us are truly safe from the prejudices and misunderstandings of the world. If you enjoyed this glimpse into history's hidden heroes, hit subscribe for more untold stories that shape our world. We bring you new episodes every week. If you're curious about the future of AI, check out our series where I explore the latest developments in artificial intelligence and what they mean for humanity. Thanks for watching and see you next time.